So, Mark, we got a lot to talk about today. Big news obviously broke a few days ago that Bally's is going away, or Bally's Las Vegas maybe is going away. We'll talk about that. Horseshoe coming to the what they call the 50-yard line of the strip. Caesars has been using that saying all week. It's sort of crazy. And then what's going to happen and where the new Bally's is going to be, because there will be a new Bally's. Let's talk about it, though. Were you surprised? The rumor had been going on for a while. I kind of slipped this news into last week's show after we had recorded it. But are you surprised to see the Horseshoe name coming to the Vegas Strip?
Not entirely, because I know they sold the Bally's name a little while ago, so it kind of, and they had the rights for a bit, and it kind of seemed like they're going to name it something, not necessarily Horseshoe, but it is cool to bring that name back to Vegas. That's an OG of Vegas, and they'll get to bring the World Series of Poker back to the Horseshoe, which is kind of cool. It's been at Rio for a while, which nobody really wants to go to Rio. So, well, until they rehab it, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I saw some video from there just the other day. It's still looking pretty sad there.
Oh, not surprising. Not surprising.
Well, let's talk about what they're going to do at Horseshoe or Bally, old Bally's. What they're not going to do is they're not going to renovate any of the 2,810 hotel rooms, mainly because they were renovated just in the last few years. But what we are going to get is 3 new restaurants, of which we don't know what they're going to be. Please bring back the Sterling Brunch. That's my only request there. 3 new attractions. Again, they haven't said what those attractions are going to be. And then an expanded poker room, because obviously the World Series of Poker, which is going to be held there, both Bally's / Horseshoe and Paris later this year. And then they're going to renovate the casino and do all of that. Sort of a, Horseshoe brand. They have a lot of properties like in the Midwest and stuff. I feel like it's an sort of upscale property, so we'll see how it all turns out. But it's going to be a top to bottom sort of change here, although it's probably going to still feel familiar.
Yeah, there was a couple Horseshoe brands around here in Ohio for a few years when Caesars was running those casinos, and they've broken off to their own thing. And they were nicer casinos, so I do think it does kind of give a little bit of higher brand, which is, not what you're used to with Binions and stuff. But
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, Bally's, the rooms have always been fairly nice. It kind of gives me the same feeling as Resorts World, where there's not a lot of anything going on there. Like, there's nothing bringing you in, no soul. So hopefully they can figure out a way to do that. I know they threw the shops out front, which just kind of, it used to just be open space, and it took forever to get into the casino. So that was kind of nice that they added them, but they seem like makeshift shops. So that's a little bit weird. And then you get inside, the casino's smaller. There's not really any vibe to it or anything. It's just kind of like, oh, here's a casino that you could see anywhere. So hopefully they can address some of those issues. If I stayed at Bally's, I just walk, through the connection to Paris and do my stuff there, because I find that to be a better property. So hopefully they can do something with the restaurants, refurbish the casino and bring a vibe to it. With Horseshoe, at least you kind of have something to go with Bally's. Like, what does Bally's mean? So I don't know. They're going to ruin the Tropicana with Bally's.
Well, we'll talk about that, but I'm going to get a little nerdy here. You talk about Binions, and Binions is really just a shell of what it used to be. I kind of grew up here in the 90s where Binions still had some of that old school charm. The family still owned it, and it was really a very popular place. The general manager of Bally's said that the Horseshoe brand is the most legendary brand in gaming. I don't know about that, but it certainly carries a lot of weight, and it's good to see that they're bringing it. Caesars Entertainment, of course, bought Binions way back when, and then eventually sold it off, but kept the Horseshoe name, the rights to that. So that's what we're seeing there. Now, also as a reminder, you talk about the Grand Bazaar shops out front. They are doing a brand new marquee for Horseshoe, and then that Ole Red restaurant, that by Blake Shelton restaurant, is going to be just out front. So that's going to be sort of a centerpiece on the strip as well. So we'll see how that all kind of turns out. These renovations at Bally / Horseshoe will be done by the end of the year, and they're going to start renovating everything in the spring. But what is going to happen to the property in Vegas that Bally's bought? Now, just like you said, Caesars Entertainment actually owned Bally's, the Bally's name, everything else. They sold Bally's Atlantic City in early 2020 to, I think, Twin River Holdings was the name of the company. They eventually, later that year, bought the Bally's name from Caesars Entertainment to use elsewhere, and they've been expanding like crazy. And just this week, their CEO made an offer to take the company private. But what does that mean? They're buying the Tropicana for a little over $300 million. And basically, Mark, you know how much I love the Tropicana. Check out the video on the channel. I did my love affair to it the day it reopened after COVID. I stayed there so much in the 80s. Built in 1957, the Tropicana is going away. Most likely to be the next Bally's. I don't like it. No.
Well, at least it's not going to be a baseball stadium. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that was ever truly going to happen, but hey, it still could if they want to pay up the money for it.
Yeah. I mean, and you see, the sale is actually less than what was bought for a few years before that. So the property really hasn't done anything, hasn't gone anywhere, hasn't, gained any value. So maybe it's a diamond in the rough. It's kind of on the edge of the strip, so not as many people going down there as they used to, as the strip pushes more towards resorts.
If Flamingo is the 50-yard line, what is Tropicana? Like the 25-yard line? I don't know.
Yeah, Mandalay Bay is the end zone, I guess. So you have that to deal with. That area of the strip used to be kind of booming, and now it's an afterthought. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. I like Tropicana because it has a vibe, and it's kind of got a cool vibe to it, and an old school OG type of thing. So hopefully they stick with that a bit. But like I said with Bally's, like, what is Bally's? What does that mean? I don't know. What do they do with that? Do they go away from the tropical feel into just a bland, boring thing, or what do they do with that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there's not anything that you're going to associate with Bally's. That property, the Tropicana, is so, linked to tropical feelings and island vibes and all that other stuff, which is also interesting because Mirage is the other hotel in town that's themed that way, and that's going to be, of course, changing to Hard Rock. So hopefully they'll keep the tropical vibe, even if they change the name to Bally's. Now, whether they'll tear it down or not, that's a question. The CEO said everything's sort of on the table, that they are going to redevelop it. So it's anything from knocking it down completely to adding on to it. There's a little less than 1,500 rooms, so it's significantly smaller than all of its neighbors. So a lot of changes potentially there, but a great pool area. Hopefully they'll expand it, add on to the casino, add some new towers, do some renovations. But the building is looking pretty ugly on the outside. And so there's a lot of love that place definitely needs.
Yeah, I found it interesting in his comments. He said, if we wanted to knock it down and start fresh, there'd be better value there, which you don't think of. Like, you just paid all this money for this property, and then bulldozing it is cheaper than refurbishing it. But that's kind of, where we're at, especially with something built that long ago. I'm sure there's a lot of issues that they have to work on. And like you said, the outside is fairly ugly, so you can't really do much with that. It's kind of tough to shine that up a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide.
Well, I think they should absolutely bring the gold glass back. When whoever bought it 10 years ago or so whitewashed the building when they did that whole South Beach, Miami renovation, and bring back the gold glass. That would be my first suggestion. But the other kind of thing to talk about before we close this out is that this is just a reminder we have all these new players on the Las Vegas Strip. It's sort of what we wanted all these years. You have the Venetian. In fact, this week, Blackstone is going to the Nevada Gaming Council trying to get their gaming license to buy the Venetian complex. You have new operations coming to Mirage. You have Palms getting ready to reopen soon with new operators. Mohegan Sun running Virgin Hotels. Bally's will be a new operator in town. So at least we have some fresh blood here. It's fresh corporate blood. So who knows what that means? Just more corporate heads changing Vegas, weird, but it's something.
Yeah, like I completely forgot about Palms. Like, it's been so long that you just kind of write it off, and that's, should be coming soon. And it's something that, a lot of people will probably be excited about, something that they haven't. It's kind of like coming out of the pandemic again, the reopening all over again, because it's been shut down for so long, coming up on 2 years now, which is crazy to think of. Such a popular property that they just shuttered for so long.
Yeah, it's even crazier to think about how many properties have sold during the pandemic. When we talk about all of these, Tropicana, all of them, Venetian, huge sales, Mirage, Cosmo. Yeah, I mean, just so many different changes. So Vegas in 5 or 10 years is going to look different, and I think these stories are just a perfect example of that. Horseshoe coming to the quote-unquote 50-yard line of the Strip, and Tropicana going away, a legendary brand, over 60 years old. It's yesterday's news. It'd be interesting to see what they do. Let us know in the comments what you think about these. Are you really sad that the Trop is going? Are you ready for it to be replaced by something else? What do you think about the Horseshoe name? And we'll be back later this week with a regular news show as well. So look forward to that. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
See you later this week.